Hi, everyone. Welcome to our first lesson on pentascales, which are 5-note scales. So, a pentascale, um, penta meaning five, like pentagon, will be just the first 5 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the scale. A scale typically has 7 notes and then they repeat. So, every 8 notes, you have the same letter. That's why they're said to be an octave apart, the root oct being 8. We'll cover sharps and flats. We'll cover half steps and whole steps and building these scales based on a formula of half steps and whole steps. And then your homework will be to play them. So let's get started. If you're not familiar yet with the notes on the scale, I'm going to attach some resources, but you can always say that C is to the left of the group of 2 black keys, F is to the left of the group of 3 black keys, and so on. Hopefully this is familiar to you. Again, if it's not, I'll attach a resource that you can work through, and then you have worksheets attached here that you can fill this out. The musical alphabet is A through G, and again, we start all over. So after 7 notes, on the 8th note, we're starting back at the same letter, and you can go ahead and mess around with that on your piano as well. We can move the notes, these letters, by having a sharp or a flat. A sharp raises the note to the very next note to the right, which will be higher, and a flat lowers it by a half step down to the left. Think about a flat tire being down, so flats move notes to the left, which is down on the piano. So we have names for the black keys on the scale, and sharps again being to the right. So C sharp is the very next note to the right of C between C and D. D sharp, and then F sharp, G sharp, A sharp. Are there white key sharps? The answer is yes. So E sharp is enharmonically equivalent to F, meaning it sounds the same. B sharp, if I circle back, will be enharmonically equivalent to C. So you can go ahead and fill out these note names on your worksheet. Feel free to stop this video at any time and work through anything. Flats again are to the very next note to the left. So B flat, A flat, G flat, E flat, and D flat. Can we have white key notes that are flat? You guessed it, yes. So F flat is enharmonically equivalent to E, and C flat is enharmonically equivalent to B. So go ahead and take a second and fill these out. So now we've named all the black keys on the piano and the white keys. And so you see now that we have 2 names for each black key on the piano. The spelling and what we call it will matter a lot, and we'll work through that in our pentascales. We'll see how that will play out. A half step I mentioned is the very next note. So if we sharp, it goes to the right. If we have a flat, it goes to the left. So a half step above C will be C sharp. A half step above E will be F. A half step below B will be B flat. Again, we can call it either one here. It won't matter as much as when we do the scales. A whole step is the equivalent of 2 half steps. So C, a whole step above C will be D because we had this black key in between. A whole step above E is not F, that's only a half step. So a whole step above E will be F sharp. And a whole step down from B will be A. Okay, so now that you understand sharps, flats, and whole steps and half steps, we're ready to build our major pentascale. So there's a formula here. We're going to have a whole step, half step, and whole step. First, we're just going to write the letter names. And this worksheet is done that the rows represent each unique scale. So we're going to work across with C. Step 1 is to just write in the names. So you would write D here, E, F, and then G. And those actually are a whole step. C to D is a whole step. D to E is a whole step. E to F is in fact a whole step. We don't have to change anything. And F to G is a whole step. Now let's go ahead and do B. This one is harder. So again, step one, go ahead and write out B, C, D, E, and F. Now let's work through it. What's a whole step above B? The very next note is C. So we're going to need C sharp. It's important to write out the letters first because if you don't, you might have called this a D flat, but we know it's going to be C sharp. Next, we need a whole step above C. So that will be D what? D sharp. Then a half step above D sharp will be E, and a whole step above E will be F, what? F sharp. Right, so once you filled this out, check the answer key, and then you're ready to play them. So your homework will be to play these up and down, a hand separately, and then end with the first, third, and fifth note of the scale. That'll give us a major triad, and I'll demonstrate here in a second. Here's C major. D major. I'm going to go ahead and skip to B major. You might want to have your fifth finger ready. Be sure you're not locking it like this. Here's C major. So here's your assignment checklist. Again, go through all of the worksheets, make sure you understand everything, double check that you've written out your pentascales correctly, and then you're going to play through all of these in the right hand and the left hand. Your challenge, once you get this, is to play them both hands together at the same time. And once you've done that, go ahead and submit your videos. So that's it. That concludes our first lesson. I look forward to seeing your videos, and feel free to reach out with any questions.